So hey guys, I hope you all are doing well today. Okay, so today I'll be talking about a very good technique to cover the new subjects which I personally had used. It's one of the best technique. I'm not saying that it is the best technique. So what how I experienced this is like when I was in my third semester, many of the courses which were in the GATE syllabus were like 1 to 1.5 years later in my college. So in order to study them, what I used to do is that I used to do breadth first search earlier and followed by the depth first search. So this is your breadth first search and this is your depth first search. Okay, now what I generally means is that first of all, try to get understanding of overall subject. Okay, overall subject and its subtopics. Once you got that, what you need to do is that just go and drill down the subtopics. Drill down subtopics. Okay, so let me tell you with respect to example, suppose we want to cover the data structures and algorithm. Now what are the main things we can say? The first one is a divide and conquer, right? The next one is dynamic programming. Third, next one is the greedy algorithms, right? After that we are having the basic data structures like stacks and queues, right? And okay, I wrote it short. Then we are having the graphs. In graphs, let's break it a little bit further. Graph traversal. Okay, then there are the minimum spanning tree and the shortest path one, right? Now, if you want to cover the DSA and if you start with the divide and conquer and you started dwelling in too much depth, what will happen is that you will be devoting much of your energy to a single topic and you will try to go in very high depth, okay? Higher depth at the initial point, okay? So, it is usually a good thing to go in a higher depth, but you need to understand that we are having the time constraint. So it shouldn't happen that in 15 or 20 days you are devote you in 15 to 20 days you devote to just divide and conquer and you became master in it. But that's not good thing, because see, if you are devoting your total time to just a single topic, what happens at the same time is that you are ignoring the rest of the topics. What about this, right? In gate, see, what will happen, the most of the time you will be getting a quite medium or easy type of question for the DSA. So if you haven't covered dynamic programming yet, what could happen is that you might get a very simple question in the exam or even in the test series related to DP, but this time you won't be able to solve it because you haven't covered dynamic programming yet, right? So this lowers down our morale. And also, if you, after a few days, after 15 to 20 days, if you look at the DSA, you will feel that you haven't done much, right? So what happens is that we then get tired of doing the thing and thinking that we are not getting the result. Actually you are getting the result, but they are depth wise higher, not the breadth wise. But in gate, what you should earlier focus on is to cover the most of the topics, right? So see, what happens usually is that you will be getting a very easy type of questions for the DP or greedy or the stacks queues, right? But if you devote much of a time on a single subtopic, you are ignoring the rest of the topics, right? Which could have been very good thing if you had covered, because in the test series also you will experience many of the questions from the different backgrounds. It will very rarely happen that the high depth question will be asked in the test series or the gate. I'm not saying it won't be happening, it will happen, definitely happen, but the chances, the probability is very low, right? Instead, if you cover most of the topic, if you understand the dynamic programming, if you understand how the matrix multiplication algorithm working, or the other rod cutting thing, how the rod cutting algo is working, that's sufficient. Okay, do not go in much of the depth, right? In the early stages, again repeating, in the early stages. See, if you are learning divide and conquer, if you learn the merge sort, and now you are jumping in too much of a depth of the merge sort, then it would be waste of a time, because in the same time you could have covered the dynamic programming and the greedy algorithms, right? Now, when you should go for the depth, when when you covered all the topics, right? When you covered all the topics or most of the topics in a basic way. Okay, and again, at the same time, it shouldn't happen that you are just reading the topic and moving ahead, and then in that way you may end up the syllabus in like 20 to 50 minutes, right? So that's not the case. What I'm suggesting is that go read the divide and conquer. Okay, just understand the things very thoroughly, very basic, from the very basic concepts. Watch few videos on the YouTube, that's a best thing to do. And then solve the basic questions, right? Solve the basic questions, understand them if you are making mistake, and then move to the dynamic programming. It shouldn't be happen that now, after learning the divide and conquer, you are directly taking the CLRS and doing the divide and conquer on a whole 1 or 2 week. No, no, that's really not a good thing. This is good thing when you are having freedom of time, and as of now I understand that we are having only 6 months left, right? So please keep this thing in mind. See, when you cover the most of the topic, you, when you will look at the DSA, you will feel very happy, so your motivation will be again very high, and you will be much more energized to go into the higher depths, right? So please keep this thing in mind. I'm not at all saying that the depth is a very bad thing. No, it's really really fun thing to do, but we should also understand that covering most of the topic is more important than doing the one topic very in depth, right? Also, it shouldn't be happen that you are just reading the stuff and moving ahead. No, read the stuff, understand it, visualize it, go through the YouTube videos, learn or read from the standard textbooks, and solve the questions, right? Solving the questions is really essential, and then you should move ahead, right? So I guess this will be very helpful for you, because that's one of the best way I had ever came across to cover the huge area, right? Again, the gate is not about the much of the depth of a syllabus, but the coverage of a syllabus. Coverage is vast, not the depth. Okay, in TIFR and other exams, you will be having a plenty of depth to play with, and those are the phenomenal exams, right? So you can definitely put your efforts in a single direction over those exams, but not about the gate, right? So keep this thing in mind. Try to have a good coverage of a topic and syllabus, so that when you stuck, you can directly start the drilling down instead of covering it from the scratch. Okay, so I hope this video helps to you. uh, take care of yourself and take care of your time. May the force be with you. Okay, guys.